Experience Cloud is very easy to build, and it's currently like lot many people uses it, and it's all possible because of all the configuration related uh, availability, and then we have the experience built around it. So anyone, any questions here? Okay, so now we will be going into the hands-on on creating the Experience Cloud site. So I will be showing you a demo like how we are going to create an Experience Cloud site uh, using our Salesforce experience. So I will be moving on to my trail.org, uh, and in trail.org, in order to create an Experience Cloud site, so if you guys are able to see my Salesforce screen, because I'm not able to see myself here and my screen, so I'm sure like you're seeing my Salesforce screen. So in Experience Cloud site, first you need to enable the sites. So you go into, like, you search for sites, and you need to first enable. So if you have not enabled your Salesforce site on the org, you can basically create it. So first you need to find a domain, like my domain space, to create an Experience Cloud site. So I will just say like, okay, it's a NGP Meetup 2021. So I just created, I will find a name, I will check for the availability. It says like, okay, this is available. So I will register Salesforce site first with
Sir,
my
can
domain.
you zoom up a little bit?
Sure. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So you create a site, you create a like my domain site first uh, from go when you're going to set up and sites, and then once you go into setup and sites, then you will see like all sites. So you just like refresh the page, refresh the URL, and then say, let me quickly refresh, or maybe let me on another setup screen. So once a domain is registered, it will take some time to like create a site for you. So we'll wait for a couple of seconds before the site options are. Okay, so first, yeah, even I forget it, right? So the first thing is like you enable a site, then you enable a digital experience, and then you provide the domain name here. So I will say like NGP Meetup 2021, and this domain is already taken because we have recently registered. So I will just like hit it, and then we enable the digital experience from here. So you go into the digital experience, you go into the setting, and you create the site. And once you create a site, it will navigate you to the all site component. So this is where basically first you provided the domain name, and then you created all site. Now you are going to create your own communities, or you can call it as an Experience Cloud site. So in order to create a new Experience Cloud site, you have to go into the all sites and then click on new. So this is like, again, all configuration based once you enable your like site domain. And then there are different types of uh, templates available pre-built. So like there is like, we can create our own LWR based template, we can have on our customer service template based on your use case, you can build it. You can also use, like, if you know old Aura, so you can also create your own component based template using Aura. So I'm just going to create an help center a template for now. It's a standard pre-built template available, but there are like lot many use cases, and we will go into details like in upcoming sessions also. So help center based template. So this is a standard, like Salesforce provide this template out of the box. What you need to do, you can easily customize and add different things. So you just like click select a template and then you go on to the help center, get started. You will provide this, okay, the name of the this experience cloud site. So you will provide, okay, Nagpur meetup community. So then you just click on create. So it will create your, it will take some time to create the experience cloud site. So meanwhile, the experience cloud site is creating, we will go into the couple of questions. So the first one is like Parag asked regarding, does this experience site has the data related to just the particular logged in user or access the data of all user? So it all depends again how you configure it. Usually it just work as a Salesforce. So if you're logging in and you have your own data model set up like private, public read only, or public read write based on your OWDs, you can do it. If you have a profile permission, you can do it. So it all follows the same Salesforce process. There is nothing else you have to set it up for the Experience Cloud. And then Nagaraj asked like LWR site. So I will not cover completely LWR site. That's a good topic because it's like a really big one and we can go on it in like in future meetups. Okay. Perfect. So now, so once you create an Experience Cloud site, so there are two pieces to Experience Cloud site. So this UI which you are seeing in my screen right now, it's related to, it's called as a workspace. So each site has its own workspace. So when I say workspace is basically a place just like the way we do the setup, same way Experience Cloud, all the setting resides within the workspace. So there are like different things to understand here. One is a builder. So this is where you can build, you can drag and drop your own component and you can build like those sites with like your own UI or whatnot. And then the other one is moderation. So moderation is nothing but, so let's say you have an open-ended community, and then once you have an open-ended communities, you can basically enable like chatter and all, and you can moderate content. You can create rule like people should not talk like about offensive language and all those things. So you can create those rules using moderation. And then content management is basically you can manage like different content within Salesforce like knowledge and all, and also you can connect external applications to get the content from. So this is more of like blogs and other things. If you want to publish on your Experience Cloud site, this is where you can get those content from the external third-party systems. And then we have gamification. This is also like kind of like you can consider it as a trailhead where you are giving badges, you are scoring different people. So this is also like Salesforce provide this out of the box where you can create those recognition badges. You can engage more customers using those standard out of the box functionality. And then dashboard is nothing but it's an analytics from the Experience Cloud site. You can get the report of like how many people are logging in, and there are different reports in terms of like how many people are commenting and posting different things around the Experience Cloud site. And the last but the important feature is the administrative setup. So this is where, so by default, when you create an Experience Cloud site, it's always in a preview mode. You have to activate it. So the time you decided to go live or launch it, like for all the user, you have to activate it. Then there are different settings available for preferences, like how you want to show, what are the things you want to display, if you want to use like custom pages or whatnot. And then member, so basically member helps in what other profile will have access to this site, who can log in to this site. And then login and registration. So login and registration, again, you can customize your own login page. You can use a standard Salesforce login page. And then there are like different things which you can change it through the Experience Cloud site builder. And then all the settings, all default email templates. So there are a lot many settings which are available within Experience Cloud site. So all this like are very detailed explained in Salesforce document also, but on high level, usually whenever you create an Experience Cloud site, login and registration is very important because this is where you will configure. You can use your own login page, you can use standard Salesforce login page, or you can use any Visualforce page as a login page as well. So I'm going back to the workspace, and then important thing, we will go through the experience builder. So in order to go to the experience builder, you will just click on experience builder and it will open up the site. So the template which we have selected, so you can see by default this template has some layout configured, and then we have like all this different pages available by default. So this is like you can create more pages, but these are the pages which will come like in a bare minimum website, you can say. These are the pages which come by default from Salesforce. So this is your home page, and then you have a contact support page. So if I'm going into contact support page, again Salesforce provides out of the box a standard form and all those things. Then you have error page, you have a standard file page, search page, topic catalog, and all. So this is how, like in experience builder, there are like different things to consider. So first on all, like I will start from left to right. So on left side, you will see like all your configuration. Again, you can directly go to Salesforce setup. You can go to the workspace and you can preview this community also. Now, this one is basically shows you like what are the different pages, and then what are the different pages available, and then all those pages are like by default. You can create on your own pages, and then each page has its own settings. So this is more of like whenever we create any website or uh, any website, we provide the description, the title, the SEO stuff. You can change the layouts also. So there are like not many things available in this. Like you can reconfigure like who can access this for this access and who can do it. And also the important thing on the Experience Cloud side is the page variation. So the page variation is basically where you can create multiple pages, and based on profile or roles you can define, okay, this customer is my premium customer, so they will see a different page. This customer is just like an entry level customer, so this customer should see a different page. So you can create as many as page variation you want, and based on the user profile or your configuration setup, you can provide those assignment to those pages. So we will do a quick walkthrough of those, but this is in general, right, the whole setup of your pages. And pages is nothing but like, just consider like in website, whenever we create any website, we have like so many pages created. So here you can create that like complete sitemap using the pages option. Then important thing is a preview option. So this is a preview where you can view in desktop. At the same time, you can do it in the tablet if you want to see like how it will look like in tablet, and then mobile. So I will like switch to the desktop view, and then you have a help icon. And then this is basically, we called it as a core of experience builder. So in experience builder, the first one is a component. So in left hand side, if you're seeing this icon, this component is basically the standard component which Salesforce provide out of the box. So we have not created any custom component. We will see one demo like how we can create a custom component, but this is a component with, these are the components which Salesforce provide out of the box. You can just simply drag and drop. So let's say we want to first drag and drop a small headline component, and we will say like, okay, welcome to Nagpur user group. So you can easily customize this, does not require any coding. You can just like simply drag and drop, and you can customize the standard components. There are not many components, like if you want to show a list of record, like, so you can also use those components. Like there's record list, and there are like record detail, and all those components are available by default. So these are the component. There is a menu, there is a Visualforce pages component which you can use it by default. So these are the component. Once you create a custom component, the custom component will come at the bottom. So here you can see, you will see a custom component option. We will see it, and then we'll drag and drop. The next one is the theme. So you have selected the help center, but if you want to change your theme, like the way when we created this in experience site, so there are different options under each theme. So you can also change the theme. So currently we are using the help center theme, but if you want to change it to any of theirs, you can like simply select, and it will just override your styling. So let's say if I just change my theme to this one, well, obviously this is not recommended once your site is production, once it's in production, because it will change a lot many things for user. But yes, so if you are still in development mode, this will change your theme completely. And then there are different options like colors option. If you don't like this color, you have your own, like each company has its own branding, so they can use their own color option. It will give you all the different type of options what you want to use. And then you have fonts. If you don't like standard Salesforce font, you have you can use your own custom fonts also. And then there are different settings, like you want to show this header, or like you want to show a hero component, and the page width and all those things, you can do it through the theme settings. So this is the core. Basically, this is where like the design element, if you want to add more things, you can do it. Also, there is a way you can override your own CSS. So you can edit your CSS and you can create your own like different type of CSS. So I will just give you an example. If I just write my own CSS and say like, okay, background color, I will say gray. So if I save it, you can see by default this applies into the whole component or whole of your site. So there is like generic CSS. If you want to do it, you can do it. Perfect. So this is how you can do it. Usually, like we just keep like whole global level CSS thing on the CSS side of. So I will just remove that because we want to keep it standard. So now then you have this structure. So this will show each page, like whenever you go into each page, this is a page structure, like what are the different components we have. So we'll start with like each of this like have its own name in Salesforce. So let's start with like, okay, this is your first header component, then you have a customizable user interface, then you have a search component. So this is all, and then if you want to remove some component or if you want to add more component, you can simply drag and drop. But this is basically your page structure, like what are the different components your page contains. And the last option which we have is the setting. So again, all general setting, like who can access this site, if it's public can access it, or you can just like want very specific user to access it, you can do it. Changes, you can configure different layouts. Then there is language. You can, if you want to display your site into multiple language, again Salesforce support this out of the box, so you can do it. Navigation, there are like different menus, so you can see we have two options, homes and topic, but we can have more option if we want to like add more, like so we can edit those navigation menu. Then this is a mobile publisher, basically a app where we want to show it. Then SEO, if you want to like generate sitemap, you want to have like the SEO related content, you can do it. Same with security, if you want to like add more level security, we can have it. Then developer based thing, right? This is where you can create your own like component theme, and then you can use it like to create another theme. So this is basically more kind of a lightning bolt solution where you can export this community and use as a template for your future communities. And this is update. Basically, every time Salesforce releases, this is place where update goes in, and then you have to just update your community with the latest release. So this is like your setting interface where this is all these things you have to do one time, and then you have to always play around. Like in general, like as a developer, you have to play around with whenever you build a new component or there is the changes in the existing component, you have to just play around with the drag and drop features on it. Perfect. So this is about the Experience Cloud side. Now what we will do is like, so you can make the changes, you can preview it multiple times, like how it looks like from a user perspective. So if I create, click on it, and I see like, okay, this is how this site looks like. We can like, basically, if you want to change, again, right, there are a lot many things you can change. You can change the background image, you can change the color, you can, if you don't like it. So there are lot many options which you can basically do it real time. So it's like just like using Experience Builder, you can use those things. Now, in order to make this site available, you have to publish it. So it will not be like, so all these changes what you are doing, it's kind of like consider as it or as a draft level changes. You have to publish it, and then once you publish it, then only the changes will be available. So it will send an email to you, okay, you have published the new changes, and then all this changes will be available on your site. So if I go into, like, again, if I just go into the all sites, refresh my page. If I go into my all site, I can see this meetup, and this is the URL of this meetup. So currently it comes with .force.com by default, but you can override. So there are like settings where you can override, and you can do it your own. Like the Spotify gave it like support.spotify.com, and then there is an open table, like lot many, like, so you can use your own, like we want to do like nagpurmeetup.com, we can override it. Perfect. So this is overview, like a quick overview, I will say. I went on to a little bit fast on few things because, like, in detail, right, all this is like itself going to be like detailed session, but yeah, this is an overview of how you can create like different experience cloud site and what are the different things, like critical things which are present in experience cloud site. So I will take a pause, and then maybe Aniket or Gajanan, since you are already triaging question, if there is anything we can like triage, or we can take a pause and then we will continue. So any questions which are not yet answered?
Yeah, so basically there is one question that what is the difference between site and community? So that I was answering, but yeah, you can go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, it's the same. I think it will, like, you will consider it like, so site is basically your like domain setup. So sites are nothing but just a plain domain setup. Community is where experience builder and all this like pre-built configuration comes in a picture. So site was like when Salesforce launched all these things, like they started with, like, they called as a, like, initially they started as a portal, like partner portal, and those are the site, but then you slowly started working on it. So sites are nothing but your domain level setups and all. And then if you're talking very specific about website, and this is same, it's a web application. So there is no difference between, I will say, like, it's more of like a difference between your how you call the website. So from my experience perspective, from my knowledge, a website is just a read-only interface where you create one thing and you have all the data present. That's it. But then there is a web application where you create an application where user can interact with it. Like user can submit a query, user can read an article, you are sending notification to user and all those things. So those are web application, and community is one part of web application, I will say, where user can interact it. It's not like just we are just showing static content to the user. So does this answer the question or clear the confusion? But yeah, in general, like in Salesforce world, we call it as a community, but technically it's a web application, I will say. Yes. And then someone has asked, like, is it possible to have a live chat in Experience Cloud? Yes. I can show you one example. So here in US, there is a customer, there is an app called OpenTable. So they uses, basically it's a restaurant reservation, so where you can book a reservation on through online or through their app. So this is, again, this is a Salesforce site, and they have, like, you can have, like, so they have a live chat feature, and it's not like turned on. So maybe if I go into the, okay, so yeah, so currently their live chat, yeah, so it's turned on, so you can see it's there. So basically when they have agent available, you can embed a live chat, and that's, again, you can do Einstein chat, or you can use even third-party services if you want. But yeah, it's enabled and it's possible to do it on site, and that's the one of the use case, you can say, where you can create like Einstein bots for the, or live agent for the Experience Cloud site.
Okay, sir. I have a question. Like, this community cloud site is run in a system mode or a user mode in security view?
So there are a couple of things, if in order to understand the whole security. So by default, when you create a Experience Cloud site, so that's where like that site setting is very important. So if you go into your site setting, so by default, when you create an Experience Cloud site, there are two options. One is you can create your pages which are public. So again, I will give you an example. If I go into the builder in setting, you can see this says, okay, the page access. So it's public or required login. So public means anyone can access the site, and required logins means they have to log in first and then you can access the site. Now, by default, whenever you create any site, a site comes with a default guest user profile. So there is like another profile which will get created automatically, and that is called as a guest user profile. So if I go into sites and go into the public access setting, so this is basically a minimal free profile, which we call as a guest user license profile. And this profile means like anyone who is viewing the site is using this profile. So this is a guest user profile. So all your public related pages will use this. So this has its own limitation, but you can expose some Salesforce data. Not everything you can expose through guest user. So this is how like all those things like which are public will run is this in this guest user context, not even system context and not on. And then when you log in, as it depend on how you design your portal. So if you are creating a custom, all standard will follow the standard, they will run in standard context. But if you follow the standard the custom components, like you create a custom lightning component and you don't follow the securities like the with sharing and without sharing concept, then it will run in a system context. Otherwise, if you are following the security model, it will run. It's just like how you run it in your Lightning App Builder and general in Salesforce. There is no difference between. Only the difference is this guest user, because public, in order to access the public page, Salesforce need a user, and that's an external user.
Okay, great explanation, sir. Thank you.
Great. Any more questions?
Yes, some of the questions from chat.
Sir,
Uh,
one more question is like, can we create a custom domain like
Yes.
nagpurcommunity.com,
Yes.
something like this?
Yeah, you can create a custom domain, and then that's where like all your settings reside. So you can create your own custom domain. You can create your own URL redirections. So all this is possible.
Can you give me example, please?
Yes. So when you create a domains, right? So basically you need to register your domain. So currently you can see by default, this is the domain which is registered when we create a site. But then you can create on your like custom domain with certificate, and then you can use it. So the example is the same, right? So I will just give you this example of help.open.table.com. So this is on force.com. If you like, just like as a developer, if you see, like if you just inspect it, all these are like SLDS classes. Okay, so you will see all the SLDS classes, and this is the community article trending topic. This is all the standard classes. So all this is basically on like Lightning web component and Lightning component. So again, right, you need to configure the my domain setup. You need to register a domain. You need to configure my domain, set up the DNS route, and then you can use like you can upgrade those settings here. And then there are like custom URLs which you can define it and then change it also. Okay, and that's where like you register for a site and then you can create it. Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Any questions? Anything else?
Yes, like some of the questions from Rohit, like related to the CMS,
Yes.
like CMS will integration with the community and CMS portal.
Yes. So Salesforce provide by default like CMS integration. If you guys are familiar, so there are like different CMS tool. One which I am aware personally is Adobe Experience Manager. They called it like Adobe AEM. So if you want like Adobe Experience Manager is nothing but external tool from Adobe where like we can create websites again, right? It's the same kind of a concept from Adobe. So, and yeah, we have WordPress, we have Joomla. So I have personally done the integration with Adobe CMS. It's very simple. Once you have the Adobe site ready, you can like just simply add a connection. It depends on your authentication. If it's a public URL, you can directly add it. You can do like different sources. Like people have like used WordPress also, Sitecore also, but yeah, I have done with AEM. You have to just provide like few root path. What's your like component path and all, like, so whenever you create any of kind of a CMS, you have a root path. Like in Workspace, we have our HTML path, we have our CSS path and all. So this is where you can connect a CMS. I cannot show you live example at this point, but this is where you can like customize it. And there is a very detailed blog also present, where if you have your own WordPress or your Drupal site, so you can use those. So you can just enable this using the settings. If it's an authenticated one, it will ask for you the name credential. You need to go into name credential and set up all those things. So once you set up a CMS connect here, then what you have to do is basically simply there are standard components available. So you can see there are CMS content available, and then you can just simply drag and drop and configure those. So then once you create a CMS source, it will show you all the options where you can have your own header, your footer, if you want to show a blog or something from there, so you can use it. So this is how basically you can do the CMS Connect. If required, after this meetup, I can share on LinkedIn, not a LinkedIn, basically I can share a blog link from Adobe, which has like all this setup demonstrated.
Okay, sir, that will be helpful.
Sure, perfect. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think one question from like Nagaraj, like difference between the current one you are demonstrating and the LWR sites, like
yes,
like Nagaraj's.
Perfect. Yes. So quick, like I personally, there is not a like a very big difference when you say like it's all about the layout, right? So when you create any sites, whether it's an LWR or previously they have the Aura component framework for the community component, and then we have the standard. So it's all about layout. So currently what Salesforce have, they're on minimum options where you can use this configurations, right? So you can see like, okay, you have the header and then you have this like kind of a sidebar and content. So if basically LWR with this Lightning framework, the web component framework, LWR is where you can create this skeleton of your communities or your website. So that helps it. I will say like personally, it doesn't matter. Like obviously LWR is a preference because it's a new and there are a lot many things you can do. Like you can do the spacing, you can do like the alignment in a different way, and all those are your base components. So at the end, LWR will not show in the UI. It's how you create a structure and then later on you drag and drop standard or custom component. So LWR is preferable, but in general, it's no difference. Only the difference is like how you want to represent it. So like I'm giving you an example of OpenTable. They use a standard template. So if they use a standard template, so that means like they are not using the LWR at the backend. But the same thing, right? If you want to use your own custom framework, you have your own layout. Your business is very specific in terms of their layouts and all. So you create this LWR based framework on that. Yes. Once you create it, like all the, when I say customization option, so options are going to be the similar, but it's more of how you like, so the component will not represent in the same way because now you are created in LWR and you need to consider all the responsiveness and everything in that framework. So then it's your responsibility. Salesforce will not assume by default. So by default here, if you see, so like we have these 3 different component, but if we go on mobile, it will show one by one after that. So it's all handled here because of responsiveness handling. But if you create your own LWR site, this will not be handled. Great. So hopefully I'm able to answer most of your questions. Anyone, any questions? And then we can quickly go into a small Lightning Web Component demo. Yes, someone asked like, can we add Lightning flows? Yes, there is an option. You can directly add the flows, and then also there are different options where you can add like Lightning flows, and you can create your own, like whether it's a self-serve flow or you want to create a like trigger-based flow, you can like simply use those.
So can we add a login flow?
Login flow is on the front side. So this is like the page which I'm talking about is the home page, but there is also, right, so we have not like published this site, but there is also like a login page, like in generic, if not in generic, but there will be a login page also available, or you need to create a login page, and then you can add those things in the login page as well. So login flow is like basically in the backend, it will work for your two-factor authentication and whatnot you want to implement it. Perfect. Someone has asked like very good question, like can we add JavaScript coding in community site? Yes, we can, but that should be avoided. In my personal experience says any additional code which is not supported within your component framework should be avoided until unless then you have to customize your own LWR thing. Because if you add a JavaScript code today, tomorrow Salesforce will upgrade this UI because of their release update, and then that code will start like breaking. So then preferable choice is LWR site. If you want to customize everything, do LWR and then use like JavaScript in the backend for that. And there are like a few, like as I told you, right, in general, if you go on to the setting, there are like some standard settings, and then there are some policies like CSP level policies which prevent like running third-party script or inline JavaScript. So again, that means if you are adding additional code, you need to bypass the settings. Okay, perfect. Anything else?
Hi, sir. I have one question here. Ankit this side.
Yeah. Hey, Ankit.
Sir, actually, I have created one, this site on my this Salesforce org sandbox, and I was facing one challenge like the with my default login button on my the builder page. I'm getting that home landing page as same, and after that login, that post login page is same as the home landing page. So actually, I was trying to figure it out that how to change that post login page, but now I'm getting that both pages are same. So that thing actually.
So maybe it's your configuration thing. I will say like check out your configuration on here. If you go into your workspace.
What configuration do I need to check for that post login one?
Yeah, so post login one, first you need to make sure that page. So if you go into your community builder, you need to make sure that page is private. It's not public. So if you go into your home page, it should not be default. It says requires login. Okay.
Okay, the home one.
The home one, any pages, right? If we after login wherever you want to redirect, right? So that page should not be public page. Okay.
Okay, and the page, the home one is also a required one. So that page is also have page access as a required login.
Login, yes. So that's where, right? Because what will happen, right, when you try to restrict your portal, there are like multiple ways possibility, right? People like do like, okay, homepage is possible, like general, and you have a required login. But then after login, where you want to redirect, right? So you need to make sure you are configuring that. Like, so a lot many people get override the standard login page. So here, if you go in your administration and login and registration, so by default, this is a Salesforce standard login page. So it says like default page, then there is an experience builder page which you can use, and people create their own Visualforce page, because what Visualforce
currently actually the login page type is like experience builder one, which I'm using as an home page, but actually I'm struggling to navigate to that post login page. So yes.
Yeah, maybe like it's related to your post login page configuration. So I need to check it out, and then maybe like if time permits, we will go into that. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Any more questions, team? Okay, so we have spent like enough time on Q&A. I will say let's quickly run down through the small LWC demo. Again, like a lot many people who already knows LWC, so I will not go into too much detail, but yeah, we will go through a quick small demo of like LWC component. So the whole idea is like we created this experience builder site, and then we use the standard component as much as we can possible. But at the end, it's all about like development. So always like business comes with different types of requirement, or your client will come with a different types of requirement where they want to create their own Lightning component, or you can say they want to have their own UI. So that's a place where Lightning Web Component in general, you can use it any place in Salesforce platform, whether it's a Salesforce based UI or a communities. So just a quick revision on Lightning Web Component. Again, it's an open source where you can create your own code. It's just like creating, like previously we have Aura component and now we have a Lightning Web Component. So you can basically, using Lightning Web Component, you can create a like UI related stuff where you can interact with the backend. There are different ways. So in general, Lightning components, there are two Lightning components. One we call this an Aura component, which is the old one. And then we have this new Lightning Web component. And then Lightning Web Component uses HTML and JavaScript primarily and CSS in order to like build those like front-end level component. So quick in general, the Lightning component structure. So basically what this is, there are two things. One is like your web component and the Aura component. Just understand from that perspective is like the whole security, Lightning data services and all the basic Lightning component will be available by default. And then you have the custom level component. So in left hand side, you can see the standard Salesforce based thing. The Aura component have custom component model. We have so many files, then custom template, custom component, then we have rendering optimization. And then the right hand side, it's a web component where you can create your own templates, custom element, then you have shadow DOM, and then modules. And then both follows the JavaScript like different editions. So one is on like your ECMA script 5, and then this one is ECMA script 7. So primarily difference is like almost at the end backend like work is backend it behaves same, but in general like the whole difference is on your like what kind of like a standard we are following while creating Lightning Web Component versus an Aura component. So just like for those who is not aware about the Lightning Web Component, there are primarily 4 files which I can say we have categorized it. One is .html where you will write your HTML based code, your basic like front end level code. In HTML, all this file has start with the template tag and it will end with a template tag. And then you have a JavaScript file. It contains your client side business logic. Also, it contains all your decorator and the framework where you can interact with the backend. Then you have a CSS file, which basically you can use an external CSS to like to design your component. And the last one is nothing but a JS file. The JS file is where you can create a JS meta file where you have to define like what's the API version of that component, whether that component is activated or not, which page you want to use. So all metadata related configuration you will use in the JS meta XML file. So let's have a quick demo so that like we can get started. So on that. So if you are able to see my Visual Studio Code. So this is my Visual Studio Code. What I will do is like I will first create a project with Manifest. So I've like already set up my workspace and I have just created a project, and then I will say like, okay, it's demo org1. Sorry, I will just like do a standard and then I will not type the name as demo org1. So I create a project like this is the Visual Studio Code. I created it. So it creates like a standard like Salesforce like SFDX based project with the folder structure. So I know like my screen size is a little bigger, but yeah, so this is how it creates it. So it has all the different files. The important file for us is usually the Force app, where we have the applications. This is all the custom application which we create, Aura classes, and then we have the LWC, where we have all the LWC related stuff. Now, what we will do is like we will authorize an org. So what I will do, I will just say, let's say SFDX, authorize an org, and I will authorize org. I will say demo org1. So it redirects me, and then it will ask me to authorize the org. So just give me a second. So I'm just logging in and I'm authorizing the org. Okay, so my org is authorized. So once you authorize the org, now I need to like. So what we will do is like we will create a small web component. So in order to create a small web component, what I will do is like again Command Shift P and then create Lightning web component. So we will call this as okay demo. Okay, so I'm just creating, I'm giving a name of LWC component, and I'm basically it goes under like force app main default, and it will go into that LWC folder structure. So we created the component. Now whenever we create any Lightning web component, you have three different things, right? You have the HTML, you have the JS, and then you have the meta XML. For CSS, you can create it in an external CSS. Okay, so now usually just like the practice, we can do anything, right? People do like hello world or like whatnot. But what I prefer always is whenever you are doing anything and you don't have your own custom design, always use Lightning Design System for any UI related stuff. So this is out of the Salesforce CSS, and Salesforce provide lot many components by default where you can use it. Like if you want to customize it, if you want to create anything, you can simply use those kind of stuff in your component. So there are like by default classes present, the code is present like a CSS based code which you can utilize for your uh, on like purpose and whatnot. So I will just like give you an example if you want to like just show like this kind of stuff. I will just copy paste this code and I will go into the backend. And what I will do is like I will remove this class because it uses the SVG thing. So there is like Lightning text available. So we will go into the Lightning text quickly. And then if you want to do it like okay, meetup help sample, just something like this. So you can use like all the CSS tag, you can use like the standard, like so the Lightning has like its own components. There are a lot many standard components which are present by default. So you can go into all those components and basically you can use like the whole code is available in your component. So we can use those components in the HTML file. So this is where we will do. Now what I will do, I will also create one small button. What I will do is like I will just like give an example. I will write the normal HTML tag this time. I'm not going to use the Lightning button tag. And then on click, I will say I will call a function. So this is how you can basically define any function like handle click. And then I will close this tag. And then we will have text. Then I will close this. So we just created one button where we will pass the label dynamically, and then on click of that button, we will show some alert or something like that. So this is, I will save it here. Then next your JavaScript. So the JavaScript, basically JavaScript file has like all this, like your decorator and then all this stuff element. So it's by default imported the Lightning element. Then we have the API. So we have to enable API in order to like get the text and other data. So what I will do is basically I will just like declare one variable here. It's an @API button text. We are going to pass that variable. And then also when I click on this button, so we have this method already created. So when I say like a handle click, I will do alert. This is how you create a basically you write the code in JavaScript. What it will does is basically it will call this function and it will show the alert box on your side, like because you're calling it from here. Now the next important thing, in order to expose this component, first you need to make it the meta file as true. Once you make the meta file as true, now you need to set up the target, because this component will not be available in your community builder or experience builder, you can say. In order to do that, you need to add this tag called target And then in targets, you need to define the target where you want to show this page. So I will say by default, so this is Lightning community, we will do the default one, we will also do the page one. So these are the target which you can set it up. Now we will create one feature because we want to make this label as a dynamic. So what we will do is like we will also set up where we can, when we drag and drop this component from experience builder, we can pass whatever the value, like the way we did the welcome component, same thing we can create using the custom one. So you will do the target config, and then in target config, you will write the target as community default. And then you will pass the property name. So your property name will be button text, and type will be string, and then we will do the default value. So this is where you basically created the component, and then this is very critical because then only your component. So first thing is like, is the exposes true? This is where you can show like where you want to display your web component, whether it's available in Lightning community or you want to make it available in Lightning App Builder or whatnot. And then you can set up the properties, like where you can pass the parameter from UI, or as in say like from a drag and drop feature. I will save this, I will save this, I will save this, and I will basically deploy this to the source. Okay, so all this file got deployed. Now if I go in my experience builder, so I'm on experience builder. So what I will do is like I will refresh my page. And in your experience builder, so if you go in your demo LWC, you can see like now you have a custom component created. Now you can simply drag and drop this component. Now, since you have drag and drop this component, so you can see like standard text comes as in, and then the label of button. So if you want to do the button label as like click here, something like that, you can do it. And then, so this is where like you are creating kind of a standard component, more configurable component, so that you don't need to like every time there is a change in something, you don't need to go into the code and do it. That's why like these are the design attributes which you pass it like through the LWC web component. So, and then you can simply publish it. And then if I go again onto my VS Code, there are a lot many things you can do. Like if you are a CSS, if you like to do the CSS options, there are so many things which we can do. I will just like simply add a break line so that my button comes at the next line and so on. And then there are like so many styling options. All those are present in this, which you can utilize it. There are standard tags which are present, which will reduce your like whole HTML thing, and then it gives you more flexibility in your component reference guide. So we have gone like a little bit faster on this. This is just an overview. Basically, it's just about like, okay, you create a Lightning component and you can use it like the same thing across like the different platform, and the way it works in community, it's similar. Only the community, you need to make sure you are following all the standard design and it's standard design consideration when you build those components. So now coming to the Q&A. So any questions, anyone on this? Anything?
Sir, when you are targeting to the Lightning community page and when you are Lightning community default, like what is the difference?
So yeah, default will be present in like a default page, all the pages, right? So it will be like default page is very specific, like a home page or record pages and all. So usually, right, we don't do default. I did it default by intention, but we don't usually do default. We always use pages, like so it's available on very specific, like only on the pages of Lightning community, and then you have the record pages, so you can also like make it available on very specific record pages. Because what will happen if you're designing a component which is a generic component, it's okay to do the default. But if you're designing a component which will work only when you drag and drop on a record page or a home page, then it will be different. So that's why use it. So
Okay. And you expose the component, so that's why you denoted it at the rate of API, right?
yes, so at the rate API is basically what we did is like, so we are getting a parameter, right? So API is like to connect that parameter. So in our JS file, we are getting this parameter from the UI, right? And then we need to pass this parameter to your front end, right? In your button label. So how it will work, it will not like directly work. How you can like basically connect it through the API. So we denoted the @API to get that label, and then here your target property will match it to the label and it will go into that. So that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
thank
public
you.
property and then you can use it. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I was confused. Like, I can do it with the gate operations, right? I was confused.
So it depends. So it's, yeah. Someone has asked, like, in site level configuration, can we hide and show the LWC component? Yes, for sure, you can do it. So again, once you drag and drop all the component here, your page structure, like, so basically, if you want to show and hide it, it depends on what you want to do it, right? So if you want to show and hide it, you can add that logic simply on your Lightning component, but you can also do it here. So you can assign the audience so that it's visible to, so audience is a feature where you want to do it based on like, okay, based on profile, only this user will see this component. So this is how you can define the audience and they will be able to see it. So usually for hiding any component, whether it's a standard component, custom component, and if it's very like profile based hiding, not like other things, then you can use the audience. Otherwise, you can add that logic in your component. How to make this component open as model? Very simple. Again, I will just quickly go into the Lightning design system. So if you are using the model CSS, it will work. So there is already a model like CSS, which comes by default. You have to use that CSS. So if I use this code and I, instead of this, I just use this code. Instead of this, I just like copy paste like what's there and then add it. So you can do it. So Lightning model, it's all CSS based model. So you can use it. Perfect. Any more questions?
Yeah, one thing is that like Salesforce has introduced the dynamic forms, right? So like, is there any like plan like Salesforce will introduce the dynamic forms or dynamic actions for communities also?
Yes, so that's a huge ask actually. So basically, people are talking about it a lot, and even I was in one of the discussion. But yes, as of now, there is no roadmap. But that's a ask where we want a dynamic form to be available. At this point, it's not like possible. I will say in general level, but yes, in future they will definitely come with the dynamic forms on the community side.
Okay, got it.
Someone has asked, like, can we use quick action in community? Yes, you can use quick actions, but those will come in terms of your record context. So I'm currently only on like home page, but if I go into very object specific page, we didn't created any object specific page. But if I create, like, let's say I created a new page and I create a page for, let's say, case. If I create any object specific page, so in object specific page, you can use quick action. So if I'm on a record detail, so this record banner, this is where your quick action will come in. So this is a standard component and you can use it. Yeah. So this is how you can do it. There are like other options. A lot many people like uses quick action in a different fashion. So that's also possible. Any more questions? Anyone?
Saurabh here. So, yes, so my question is not related to Experience Cloud. So my question is, in Salesforce industry, there are ongoing conversation that is after 2022, Salesforce will stop using workflow rules and process builder and totally shifting towards flows. Could you please enlighten us on that?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, this is a little off topic, but yes, that's a plan for Salesforce. I think they have recently announced it in Dreamforce. They are going to like focus more on the flows. So it's not like, I will say, not going to deprecate as in like you won't be able to like you have to migrate everything. That will come slowly. The plan is like, okay, process builder, yes, there are few, as we know, there are like lot many limitations with process builder. So process builder is something like which is not recommended. If you have any option, like just go for a flow. That's one. And workflow will be there, but slowly they will also deprecate. So the whole idea is like to increase the adoption around the flows, and that's where the plan is. But I will say like they have decided just to deprecate, decided to stop the new features coming in those areas instead of like thinking of like a deprecation, like you won't be able to use anything. It will not happen like that, like the way it happened with I think Visual Force. We still Visual Force is there. Not many things you need Visual Force for it. So that's that is.
Thank you.
Yeah, like adding one question. So I'm here. Like I am working like with team. So like most of the architect are favor with the flows, right? So like if like I am also like from the core Java background. So like we every time our mind will be a diverted. No, I should write a code instead of the writing, right? Because we don't know. So like what will be the like perspective like means we can like completely dependent on the flows, right? Most of the architect that saying that like no, you instead of code you have to write the flows. So like what will be the perspective of converting our most of the code to Apex, most of the code to flow?
Yeah, so it depends on architect to architect, right? So like generally I will say like, again, this is a very controversial answer because some people will not like it, but it depends on architectural decision and if you have worked on like complex applications. So you have to keep a balance between a standard configuration and a custom like your custom code. Flows are still evolving. I will not say flows are everything. There are benefit when you write a custom code. So in general, what I have done in past in my projects and my implementation, this is again my personal opinion. So I have done is like, if you are doing anything which is UI related, like an interaction based, you will be going for a flow. So if you have like you are creating a form or you are having a user level interaction, you will go with a flow. But if it's a backend level integration interaction, I will prefer Apex because there are advantage. I'm a big advocate of Apex when it comes, because you can write good unit tests, you can track your code, you can easily debug those things. With Flow, you can create those complex logics, but there is no way to test it until you do the manual testing, or you
Yes.
have to like
Also,
automate it. So yeah.
Also, let me like wanted to add something. So Salesforce recommended to use like if it is if it is deprecating workflow and process builder and flows. So my point is you can use it, but that is only half statement. You can is it true that whenever possible use workflow, process builder or flows, but with the combination of Apex you should not use all those things. If you are using Apex, I will recommend to just go with the Apex. If you have like something requirement which the total requirement if you can achieve using that standard configuration way by workflow, process builder or the flows, then only implement, otherwise go for Apex, because there will be lots of complication when you are working on the enterprise project. And if you are working like if you are using both those stuff for the same purpose, so what will happen, whenever there is any operation, DML operation like insert update, both like Apex will also get fire and the workflow and process builder also get fire. So there will be definitely some complications in your project. So either go with the complete standard way or just by using a Apex. That's what I can say.
Yes, I think I can echo that, and that's where like you need to like as a developer you need to be very focused. You need to understand the order of execution, because if you are going to use multiple things, like you are going to use workflow, process builder, and flows, and then you have your own Apex trigger, your order of execution will be like just simply get corrupted. So it's always recommend like how you plan those things. And if you already have like, I will recommend like if you already have a trigger and you are using like 3 field updates in a trigger, why not like the 4th field update should go there instead of going into a flow. So think about those considerations when we develop application, because we want to support that for long term.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Perfect. Great.
Yeah, Atul this
Okay.
side.
Yeah.
nowadays Salesforce is going for the low code, less code platforms like Velocity and all these things. So is there any specific reason for moving in these domains?
It depends. Yeah, so I think those platforms, so I will say not like a low code platform, they are very industry specific platforms. Okay, so it's not like so Salesforce is going into like different verticals of industries, and when Velocity comes in picture, like yes, definitely it's a very good implementation of Salesforce based use case with configuration thing. So those are the areas which like definitely is there, but again, right, in terms of like overall like demand, it's very focused around those verticals, right? It's whether it's insurance related implementation or other things, you can do it, but it depends on like, so as a developer, my recommendation is not like to just get expertise in one area of Salesforce. It's better to work on variety of projects so that you get an exposure to all cloud, and at the end we are a developer, we want to just go and develop things, right, considering the business context.
Okay. I have a question like to the community cloud, like to the user can like guest user can upload some file. Someone has asked in the chat actually.
uh yes, there are limitations to it, like guest user can do it. I will like if I'm wrong, I will let you know, but there are some settings which you need to enable in order to do that file, but there are limitations like how much. So all those like again, right, I will say like I think that setting is present somewhere here. When you go into the members, not members, I think, yeah, preference, here you can have this setup, and then there are options to where you can enable that setting, but it's again very limited for like limited performance, and then you need to enable the guest user profile to have access to those areas where you can do it.
Okay, I will ask some off-topic question like can like what will be the best place to learn community cloud like PLC or like our Trailhead?
I will say Trailhead is really like it has like lots of good content. So go with Trailhead. There are a couple of good like trail mixes available on Community Cloud. Again, right, Experience Cloud, so you can use that. And it's more about hands-on and exploring it. If you already have an HTML background or you already have background on creating websites, just simply like follow Trailhead and then explore like different options what are available in Trailhead.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
Like here we can see the bell icon with the notification. So is there any specific implementation for that, or it's a out of box feature we can configure it?
It depends. There is like it's in like last to last release, Salesforce have released something called as a custom notification, and then again I'm coming to process builder, but you can write a process builder to trigger this custom notifications. So it can be on record update, so you can create a notification type and then you can use process builder to send this notification. Now you can do it via Apex also. So once you create a notification type, let's say you want whenever there is an update to a case which is on by that user or like created by that user, you want to send a notification. So you can write that logic. It's just like the way we send an email alert, you have to send this custom notification type. And what it will do is like it will create a bell icon. Not only bell icon, if there is a mobile app, mobile publisher app, then it will also send a push notification. On some of the notification are by default, like when you had mentioned someone, so those notification will come by default. If there is an approval process, it will come by default.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, you can create your own custom notifications if required. And Salesforce is really improving a lot. Like from last a couple of releases, they have done like now you can do it through custom through Apex also.
So instead of using this standard feature, we can create like our LWC component, and we can shape it like this and store the records in our own custom
Yeah,
objects.
it depends. It depends. Yeah. So, but why you will do that, right? So if you create an LWC, Salesforce provide that functionality out of the box. So I will say like it depends on use cases. You can create your own custom definitely, but if you want like this bell icon related, Salesforce have already done it. You have to just like configure it and create it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. When we say like it's one notification at a time. It's like a notification is always one-to-one, right? In Facebook, we get like multiple notification, but if they are tied to the same record, it will come as like a lead. So just think about like how we get LinkedIn notification and Facebook notification. It's the same kind of stuff like framework you can have.
Okay, sir. Can you share the blog as you said earlier, please?
On CMS content, yes, definitely. I will find it and I will share it to Aniket, and you can check it from Aniket. Okay, I will definitely share that blog. I've recently done like 3 months ago only. I've done that integration, so I'm kind of very new to like very like new on that, right? So because I know like what needs to be done, it's challenging, but again, right, there are like lot many limitations when it comes to Salesforce security and doing the CMS thing. It's easy to say like okay, they have CMS Connect, but there are a lot many challenges as well. Perfect. That being said, so we are almost done. Now, a couple of things. What next? So in terms of, yeah.
Hi, Sam. Can we discuss that point actually? If we have time, that what configurations are required to get that different builder page after login one?
Yes. Yeah, actually, it's already 9:30 for me. It's 1.5 hour. It's early morning, so I will say because we have a couple of slides to cover it. So yeah, so why not like Ankit, right? If you can just ping me on LinkedIn or like just like shoot me an email. Let's connect through an email and maybe like we will be able to resolve it. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Perfect. No worries. Feel free. So what next? So this is like just a first session which we have it. I'm planning to have more session for this Nagpur user group. Now I'm from Nagpur, just like for those who are not aware. I'm from Nagpur. I have done my engineering from Nagpur only, and I'm in US from last 6 years. But yeah, I'm closely like work with like different companies in Nagpur. So in upcoming session, we will be going into like Aniket is going to again do some polling, and then we will check out like what topic you guys are interested in. So feel free, like I really like the way we have interacted today, and make it more interactive session in future also. So feel free guys, and feel free to like reach out to Aniket and the whole like Nagpur like Gajan and different people, and feel free to ask for a topic, right? So I'm comfortable in like presenting for most of the topic if I'm worked on it. But yeah, so feel free, and we will like plan to have these sessions like regularly in a monthly cadence, at least like I will, based on the commitment I will say. But yeah, definitely that's the whole plan to like keep like Nagpur and Amravati group more active, and then we can have the sessions. So there will be new session in November, and then topic is not yet finalized, right, Aniket, or it's finalized?
Yeah, we are in process, like we'll let you know accordingly.
Yes. So that's one thing. Just a quick one. So also, as I mentioned, we have recently launched SFDC Minds blogging site. So this is again a portal. If you guys are interested in writing blogs and sharing your concept throughout the community, feel free to join it. This is like an open source platform where anyone can post their blogs, and then anyone can share the knowledge. We are also planning to have more like knowledge based session or like training related videos on this blog. So feel free guys, if you want to participate, just shoot me an email or just like send a LinkedIn message to this to the links. Perfect.
Future, can you please add few sessions related to the velocity also, like the same?
It depends. Yeah, I will say like it depends on the whole bandwidth. Yeah, that's a good ask. It depends on like how many people are interested, and we can have those sessions. Maybe Aniket, that's a note for you and Rajan, and like because those guys are managing the group. So yeah, we can get someone, and then we can have those sessions.
Yeah, definitely, like velocity will be the different kind of for all of us, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, right, for velocity we can start with like a quick introduction, and then we can go it like, because it's whole together a different thing, nothing related, I will say not related to Salesforce platform, but it's completely a different concept when it comes to like the implementation and all. So we don't have a time for Kahoot quiz, but yeah, any questions? Yep.
Didi, pareva, Juliana.
Great. Great guys. Yeah, good. Aniket?
Yeah, so actually, like we are not ready with the for question set, right? So in next session we are going to plan the quiz session also. We are not ready like with question sets and all that. So from next session we'll definitely take a quiz sessions and some swags also.
Yes, perfect. Yeah. So next time we will have more time, and I will like limit my demo so that hopefully you guys like it, and feel free to share like the feedback. Feel free to connect me on LinkedIn and share the feedback with the group. I will say, because we can plan like more of this session. If there is any improvement required, we can definitely do it.
No, actually, it is a very great session, very interactive session. So thank you to the Nagpur community group. Actually, I'm from Kolkata. I joined here, so it gave me interest on when I see like LWC cloud sites, experience cloud site training something. So like it'll be great to start from here to learn the journey. Thank you to the Nagpur community group or something, I don't know. Amarvati, yeah, Amarvati. So thank you.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I will say like thanks, like really like a big kudos to whole like Nagpur and Amravati group and Aniket, Gajanan and Raj sir, so for like doing all this, like because we want to keep this, like we want to make sure like we are sharing the knowledge. It's difficult, like it sometimes it gets difficult to get the time for it, but yeah, we want to keep it like doing in this way. Perfect team. And then Aniket, anything else you have?
Yeah,
So,
no. So
just
yes.
wanted to share a thanks. Like I just wanted to say thanks to you. I know you have really busy scheduled, and you find out the time in those busy scheduled, and give your time slot for us. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
No worries. I'm always there. Okay, great then. Okay, thank you guys. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your Sunday, and then yes, we'll keep in touch. Thank you all.
Yeah, sure. Have a good day to you also, and thank you for such interactive sessions.
Yep. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you all.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.